All right, so we've done all our initial setup. So now let's start bringing in our packages, and let's start with MySQL. So here's the NPM page, and like any good NPM page, there are some code examples of what we need to do, as well as a host of resources on how to use this. So what we're about to write is going to be very similar to this, so let's do that. Over in our index.js file, first we're going to bring in the package MySQL. So we're going to require MySQL. Then we're going to make this variable connection. So we're going to say var connection equals MySQL dot create connection. And inside of here, this information is from our MAMP page. So our host is going to be localhost. Our port, this is probably going to be different if you're, depending on what computer you are on. Mine is 8889. Just be sure to check with your MAMP page. My user is root. My password is root. And my database, so if we check over here, they want a database, because that's what we're trying to connect to, is a database. So my database is going to be called Best Bayes DB. And then I want to test if we're connected. So I'm going to say connection. So take all this information that I just gave it and run the connect command on it. So we're going to do a function that may get an error. If we get an error, we want it to throw the error. Otherwise, we want to do a console log that tells us we're connected at, and then let's get the connection thread ID, and we're going to give ourselves a new line just to have some space. And then we want to run this connection.end. Let's see what we get. So if I come over here to our terminal and I say node index.js, I get an error. Great. What is wrong here? Unknown database, Best Bayes database. So the thing is, for this to work, I have to initialize the database first. So we'll come over to our SQL Pro and let's make that database. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to drop the database if it exists. This is just a catch because if it does exist, we don't want to be trying to then recreate it. We'll get lots of errors, so let's not do that. Also remember your semicolons, they're super important. So after that, we're going to create our database of Best Bay DB. And then we're going to create a table called Bayes. And to save you from having to watch me type all this out, because that's not a good time for anybody, I have it right over here. So our bays are going to have an ID. They're going to have a character name, dates gone on, their interests, favorite foods, and favorite music. And we've identified the primary key as this ID. So if I select all of this and I run the selection, And now I have created the database, best Bayes over here. Now I'm going to run my create table. And now we have the Bayes table here. And if we go to table info, you can see what's in there. And if you hit structure, it gives it to you in a little bit of a different form. This is closer to what you see with HeidiSQL when you look at the table information there. So now, if I come back over to our terminal, just clear that out real quick. I wrote run node index.js again. We see that it did connect at 15, and because of that connection end, it ended the connection and kicked us back out to our terminal. It's exactly what we want. So we know that our connection is working correctly.